Presently in our histogram, we have the horizontal axis and the vertical axis labels that we want to make easier to read. And we have this extra class that we don't want. Again, we're trying to get 9 classes total. And the way that this is displayed, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it looks like there's a 10th. So I need to get rid of that. And once again, the range of my data goes from 0 to 420, a height of 420. So this upper class of this last class of 423 will include the very last data point that I have, the highest data point that I have at 420. So this wasn't from anything that I designed into it. This is just because of an option in Google Sheets that just needs to be changed. Okay, so we will correct that here. So down our list of customizable options, we're going to be looking at the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. But first, let's look at horizontal. So I'll click that, and I'm going to scroll down so I can see as many of those options right now as possible. And under label font, we want to leave that as the theme default. Now, the label font size, usually you want the font size of your axis labels to be larger, but smaller than the axis title. And so the font size for the axis title, I set for 20 point. So I'm going to make this to be a little bit smaller than that. And I'm going to make that 18. So it's just under 20. And I want that to be bold. And I want the color to be black. Now, under the minimum and maximum values, okay, so that means what's going to be the minimum value on this axis and what's going to be the maximum value on this axis. And this is where we're going to trim off this extra class we don't want. So the minimum value on the horizontal axis, we're just going to go ahead and set to 0. And the maximum we'll set to not be 450, we'll make it 423. And notice that when I type 423, now that 450 is gone. And now I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes. Exactly what I want designed for this histogram. So that's how we trim off that extra class that Google Sheets put in there. I'm going to uncheck allow bounds to hide data. And under slant labels, so you can see these labels are slanted. Okay. One thing you could do to change that is instead of auto, you could change it, I think, let's try 0. Okay, that didn't change it. If we change this to 90 degrees, okay, now it makes it up and down. And that's good. I mean, that's fair. That might actually be better. So I'm going to leave this one that way, which is a little bit different than the goal that I had previously. But let's go ahead and leave that. Now, you would think here under horizontal axis, there should be some kind of option for me to change the accuracy of these labels. I really don't want this 0.00 in there. So I do not see a customizable option to reduce the accuracy of these labels. So we just have to live with it. If someone comes up with a way to change this, please let me know. But natively with Google Sheets, I don't see an option here to change that. Okay, so that's the horizontal axis. Let's now close this. And let's go to vertical axis and look at those options. So I'm going to scroll down so I can see those vertical axis options, and there's a few more. So label font, we're going to use the theme default. Label size, I'm going to change that to 18, just like what we had here. I want to make that bold, and I want to make sure that I'm using black. Okay. Now under minimum and maximum, yeah, we'll set the minimum at 0 and the maximum at 100. That looks good. I could change this to maybe something like 80, but then this class is going right up to the very top of the plot area, and you really would like to have a little bit of a gap. So maybe 85 would be, oh, not even 85 is good. Let's try 90. Okay, so 90 could work, but 100 is a really nice round number versus 90. Okay, so I'm going to make that 100, and where it says allow bounds to hide data, let's turn that off. Let me scroll down here so we can see a few more of these options. Under scale factor, we'll just leave that at default. We're not using a log scale, and the number format, just leave it at from source data. So it kind of looks like, here we could put custom formats. We could maybe have some way of getting rid of, some decimal points of accuracy here. But we don't have this number format for the horizontal axis, right? So it's kind of strange that we have that control on the vertical axis, but we don't have that control here on the horizontal axis. So for now, this is kind of the best that we can do with the native tools we have available to us, the native options we have available to us.